Hello everyone. Today we have another lesson, Mega Goal 6. But before we start our new lesson, let's take a quick overview for the previous one. We talked in the previous lesson about form, meaning, and function. And in this lesson, we learned some grammatical rules, we revised some other grammatical rules, and we try to integrate them with some vocabulary skills. We started with the first one, which is past progressive. We said that the past progressive, we use it by putting the verb be, was or were, then it will be followed by a present participle to describe a long action that is interrupted by a short action. There are many situations where we use the past progressive. This is the first one, describing a long action that is interrupted by a short one. Another situation is when we describe what was happening at a specific time in the past, like saying, I was playing video games yesterday at 3 o'clock. Okay, so this is specific time in the past. The third situation is when we talk about a temporary state or action in the past. Number 4 is we use the past progressive with always to describe a repeated or annoying action. My old car was always breaking down, so I bought a new one. And we also use the past progressive to describe two actions that were happening at the same time. And the example we have here is Edwin Robertson was out walking and looking for his pet chicken during a thunderstorm when he was struck by lightning. So there are two actions are happening at the same time. After that, we went to this slide where we had was or were with going to and was or were with about to. We said that we use this form of sentences, or we use this type of expressions or phrases when we want to talk about something that we intended to do in the past but we didn't. For example, I was going to study engineering. This is his or her intention. Did he or did she study engineering? But my father advised me otherwise. They didn't study engineering because his father advised him otherwise. After that, we talked about the past perfect tense. And we said that the past perfect tense is used when we talk about an action that happened before another action that happened in the past. For example, when Edwin Robinson was struck by lightning, he had been blind and deaf for almost 10 years. So we have two actions after each other in the past. Past perfect progressive and past simple tense. We use the past perfect progressive when the activity was in progress at the time another activity or event happened in the past. King Umberto of Italy had been climbing into his carriage when he was assassinated. After that, we had some exercises regarding these skills. In the first one, we have here this report where we ask to use the passive and active simple past and the past progressive tense and was or were about to. The last thing 17-year-old Ricardo Gordon remembers was that a storm was about to come and he rushed to get inside. Next thing he knew, he was laying in a hospital bed. Here is what happened. Ricardo was listening to the live broadcast of the football game when lightning hit him. As a result, his hair and ears were burned and he had dark spots all over his body. The wounds on his body followed the wire of his smartphone from his ears down to his hip, where he was carrying the device. The electric current traveled from his smartphone to his headphones. Ricardo is lucky to be alive. After that, we had another exercise. We were asked to complete the sentences using the verbs in parentheses, use the simple past and the past perfect forms, and the answers for this exercise are as shown here in this slide. Today we are going to have the first lesson in Unit 3. The title of unit is Beauty is Only Skin Deep. Beauty is only skin deep. Maybe some of you hear this phrase for the first time. What is the meaning of this expression in your mind? What do you think is the meaning of beauty is only skin deep? It means that beauty is something superficial, something is outer, okay? It's something that doesn't determine the inner soul of the person or the inner beauty of the person, and doesn't determine the personal trait of everyone. So beauty is only skin deep. That means beauty only shows the superficial part of the person. It doesn't reflect the person or the personal traits. It doesn't reflect the inner beauty of the person. Here on page 34, we have some tools that are used in the beauty manufacturing or in the beauty making. We will listen and discuss some of the ideas that we have here in this reading part. And after that, we will try to explain the new words. We will try to discuss the new ideas. We will try to have some definitions for each one of these parts later. Now I want you to take some time, read these questions, think about them, then go after that to this part. But before we start reading the 4 parts, today we have 4 parts for tools that are used in beauty making: hairbrush, nail polish, deodorant, and lipsticks. These 4 tools has a history, has a tool, has a way of using. I want you to think about many things. Firstly, when we read these paragraphs together and we read these stories of each one of these beauty tools, I want you to put some questions in your mind and try to find the answers of each one of these questions. The first one: when was each one of these tools used for the first time? When was it used for the first time? And who are the people who used it for the first time? The Egyptians, the Greeks, the Indians, the Arabs, who used these tools for the first times? And after that, who used these ideas or who came up with these ideas? And last thing is, when did these things were transformed from the old way of making to the new or to the modern manufacturing? Okay, now let's go ahead. Listen to the hairbrush. I want you to pick up your pens, underline the new words, so we talk about them and discuss them later.
Unit 3. Beauty is only skin deep. Pages 34 and 35. 1. Listen and discuss.
The hairbrush. Hairbrushes have been around for thousands of years. However, you may be surprised to learn that until recently they were only used by the wealthy and privileged. The upper-class ancient Egyptians used hairbrushes made of animal hair, porcupine quills, shells, and bone for combing and to remove lice and other pests that got tangled in their hair. Brushes were manufactured for the first time in 1777 by an English company. The bristles came from wild animals and were stitched into the brush by hand. It is not surprising that these brushes were quite expensive. It wasn't until the beginning of the 20th century that brushes began to be manufactured by machine and to be produced with cheaper, synthetic materials like nylon bristles. With these developments, brushes became extremely common.
Now let's talk firstly about the hairbrush. Here we have some historical information about the hairbrush and how it was manufactured and how it is manufactured nowadays. But let's take some words to discuss and talk about. We will start firstly with the word wealthy. The word wealthy means people or a person who is rich, and after that we have the word privileged. The word privileged means someone who have special rights, someone who is entitled to special things that other people don't have. Then after that we have the upper class. Upper class refers to the people, to the wealthy and privileged people. So it's fine to use both of these expressions, wealthy or upper class. Ancient means the old people, the people who lived in the older times. The upper class ancient Egyptians used hairbrush made of animal hairs, porcupine quills, shells and bones for combing and to remove lice and other pests. Lice and other pests. Lice and other pests refers to parasitic insects that live in the hairs of people. So these, or the hairbrush, the aim of making the hairbrush was firstly to remove lice and other pests that got tangled in their hair. Got tangled means stuck in the hair. So they wanted to take these lice and pests out of their hair. Okay, now let's go to the second part, or to the second beauty making tool, which is the lipstick. Let's listen to the history of the lipstick together.
Lipstick. Ancient Egyptian women made lipstick from a red dye extracted from seaweed and the poisonous element iodine. It was eventually discovered that this early form of lipstick made women very sick. Cleopatra had a safer, although not very appealing, recipe for lipstick. It was made from ants and beetles. The ants were used as the base and crushed carmine beetles for their deep red color. In 1884, the first modern lipstick was introduced in Paris. It was a solid stick made of castor oil, beeswax, and animal fat. By the 1940s, the use of lipstick by famous wealthy women had led to its widespread popularity. During this period, rotating lipstick in a tube was invented. Today, the average woman owns 8 lipsticks.
Okay, now we have after that lipsticks. Ancient Egyptian women made lipsticks from a red dye. The word here, dye, refers to the paint or to the color of something. So the red dye means the red color. Dye is an element that is extracted from seaweed and the poisonous element iodine. The word poisonous means something venomous, something that could kill the person. For example, we say, this snake is poisonous. The snake is poisonous. That means it has poison in its teeth. It was eventually discovered that this early form lipsticks was this form of lipstick made women very sick. Why did it make women very sick? Very sick because it has a poison in it. Okay. After that, we have crushed carmine beetles. Beetles are some kind of insects. Then after that, we have the word modern. This is the last word in this text we're going to talk about. The word modern means something novel, something happening at these days, something new. So when we say modern, it means something new. After that, we will talk about the deodorant. Now let's listen to this text together.
Deodorant. The ancient Egyptians worked hard to hide body odor. They put perfume in their baths and applied great quantities of it to their underarms. They tried using many odd items, like incense and porridge, as deodorant. The ancient Greeks were also afraid that they might give off an odor. Like the Egyptians, they bathed constantly and wore a lot of perfume. The Romans took this obsession a step further. They soaked their clothes in perfume and even put it on their horses and household pets. The first trademark deodorant, a paste called Mum, didn't appear until 1888. In the mid-1950s, the ballpoint pen inspired the first roll-on deodorant. Today, deodorants are a multi-billion-dollar industry and are as common as toothpaste in most homes.
Okay, now let's talk about two expressions or two words. The first one is body odor. It is also called BO. BO is a shortcut or an acronym for body odor. It means the smell of the body, the smell of the human body. So the deodorant was made in the first place to hide the body odor. They put perfume in their baths and applied great quantities. The word quantities means numbers. So great quantities means a large number of it, or a large amount of it under there, or of it to their underarms. After that, we have the word soaked. They soaked their clothes in perfume. They soaked, that means they have a bowl they have a bowl with perfume in it, and they put their clothes in this bowl or in any other material that they can use it to soak their clothes. So when you go walking in a rainy day, you will get soaked. Soaked means wet. Now let's go to the last part of our lesson today, or to the last part of our reading lesson today, which is the nail polish. Let's listen to this part together.
Nail polish. Nail polish can be traced back to around 3000 BCE in both China and Egypt. Chinese nail polish was a mixture of beeswax, gelatin, egg whites, and a gum from a special tree. Nail color represented social class. During the Zhou dynasty, around 600 BCE, the royal colors were gold and silver, so these were the colors worn by royalty and the upper class. Lower-ranking women were only allowed to wear pale colors. If they were royal colors, they could be put to death. Ancient Egyptian men and women of high social rank stained their nails with red henna. Military commanders in Egypt and early Rome felt that it was important to be well-groomed before going into battle. It is strange but true that they spent hours before a battle having their hair curled and their nails painted. Modern nail polish was invented in the 1920s. Its formula is very similar to the formula for car varnish.
Okay, now we have listened to the last part, which is nail polish. There are some words we will talk about, or we will start with Zhou dynasty. The word dynasty means the children, the boys, or the sons and daughters of someone. So the Zhou dynasty means the sons and daughters of Zhou. After reading these four parts of our lesson today, now I assume that you have answers for the questions that we asked before start reading these parts. The first one was, when was these tools made? The second one is, why did the people make these tools? Number 3, who made these tools? The Egyptians, the Arabs, the Greeks, the Asians. And the last thing, when did the modern manufacturing started with each one of these tools? Now let's go to the quick check part. In the quick check, we have 2 parts, vocabulary and comprehension. In the vocabulary, we will complete each sentence with a word from the box. In this box, we have words that were extracted from the previous texts. We will explain each one of them, then we will put each one of them in the proper blank. Then after that, we will move to the comprehension part, where we have some questions that will be answered by your understanding of what you have just read. Now let's go to the first part, which is vocabulary. We have 7 words. We will start with the first one, the word appealing. The word appealing means something attractive, something that you like, something looks beautiful. Number 2, extracted means taken from. These words are extracted from the previous text. So we took these words from the text. Number 3, the word privileged means someone who has special rights, who is entitled to things that other people don't have. Number 4, the word traced means that someone who follows something to find the answers. For example, you say the police traced the van, or the police traced the thief. Number 5, elements refers to the parts or the chemical parts that something contains. For example, if you have a drink, this drink contains many elements. So the elements are chemical parts. Then we have the word obsession. The word obsession refers to how people like things. If you like it so much, that means you are obsessed with it. Then the last word is synthetic. It means man-made thing, something not real, or something not taken from nature, something that is made by mixing many things together. So it is called synthetic. That means it is made by mixing more than one element together. Number 1, she seems to have an with handbags. She can't stop buying them. Okay, she can't stop buying them. We will answer these questions, but I want you now to pay some attention to how we answer the first question, so you can use this way for answering the rest of them. Now we have a sentence. She seems to have an with handbags. She can't stop buying them. When someone buys things one after the other and he has a weird way of loving these things, what do we call that? We call it obsession. She seems to have an obsession with handbags. She can't stop buying them. Number 2, the outbreak of food poisoning was traced to a shipment of bad tomatoes. Number 3, the scientists extracted genetic information from the skin sample. Number 4, iron, copper, oxygen, and carbon are all examples of elements. Number 5, there are no natural materials in this shirt. It's all synthetic. Number 6, you should feel privileged that you get to attend one of the best universities in the country. And the last one, the food was left out overnight, so it no longer looked very appealing. Now let's go to the comprehension. In the comprehension, we will read some questions and we will go back to the previous texts to try to find the answers. Now, feel free to pause the video right now, read the questions, then go back to the previous text to find the answer. It's better that if you know the answers right away and you can write them down. If you are not sure if you know the answer correctly or not, you can read the questions, then go back. After that, you can, after finishing writing the answers, you can resume the video and go check your answers. Number 1, what were hairbrushes made out of thousands of years ago? Number 2, what are some of the different ways that lipstick has been made throughout history? Number 3, how did the ancient Egyptians try to hide their body odor? Number 4, what did nail polish represent in ancient Egypt and China? Number 1, they were made out of animal hair, porcupine quills, shells, and bone. The second question, what are some of the different ways that lipstick has been made throughout history? Lipstick has been made from seaweed and iodine, ants and beetles, and castor oil, beeswax, and animal fat. The third question, how did the ancient Egyptians try to hide their body odor? Is they put perfume in their baths and on their underarms, and they tried using odd items such as incense and porridge as deodorant. Number 4, what did nail polish represent in ancient Egypt and China? The answer is nail polish represented social class. Now I want you to go to the workbook and open your books on page 21. On page 21, today we are going to have 2 exercises, A and B. In exercise A, we have unscramble the words. Here, you are asked to unscramble the words. These words are scrambled. These words are mixed together. So, I want you to rearrange these words, unscramble them. We have the first example. It is written here, EDXETTRCA. And the correct word is extracted. Now you can pause the video right here, take some time to do the exercise by your own, then after that, go back and resume the video so you can check your answers if they are correct or not. Number 1 is privileged. Number 2 is traced. Number 3 is elements. Number 4 is appealing. Number 5 is rotating. Number 6 is obsession. Number 7 is synthetic. Number 8 is porcupine. Now let's go to exercise B. Write the words from exercise A next to the definitions below. In the previous exercise, we have here 8 words on the right side. I want you to take these 8 words and put them with their correct definitions. We have definitions here on this side. The first one is chemical substances, and the answer is elements. After that, we have 8 definitions. A person who has special rights or benefits given to him, something that moves around, usually in a circle, revolving, something that is attractive, a small animal that has stiff, sharp quills, an idea or habit that controls the mind, a fixation, taken out or removed, artificial or man-made or not real, followed back to its origin or starting point. Now let's start with the answers of the last part of our lesson today. The first one, a person who has special rights or benefits given to him, is a privileged person. Number 2, rotating is something that moves around, usually in a circle, revolving. Number 3, appealing is something that is attractive. Number 4, Porcupine is a small animal that has stiff, sharp quills. Number 5, obsession is an idea or habit that controls the mind. It's a fixation. Number 6, extracted means taken out or removed. Number 7, synthetic, it means an artificial or man-made or something that is not real. The last word is traced and means followed back to its origin or starting point. This is the last part of our lesson today. Thank you all for attending, and I wish you enjoy the rest of the day. Assalamu alaikum.